What's up? What's up? What's up, everybody? It's your boy Mike Robinson, and this is another episode of Let's Take a Walk. I hope everybody is having a great week so far. We at that hump day, we at that halfway point, almost to the weekend. I'm definitely having a great week so far. It's only getting better. Tonight, as most nights we are on here, as every night we're on here, we have the best, most interesting, thought-provoking guests that we can provide for you. Tonight is no different. This young man is a businessman. He's an entrepreneur. He's a father. He's a husband. He's a man of the people. And he's also a candidate for the treasurer of Newport News, Virginia. Some of you may recognize him and some of you may not, but this is Mr. Derek Reason. I gave you all that list of accolades, but I barely scratched the surface, trust me. For those of you who may not be familiar with this young man, I'm going to give him a moment to kind of reintroduce himself and just give a little background of who he is and some of the things that's going on in his life right now. With that being said, you got the floor.
All right. How y'all doing? Excuse my voice. But yes, my name is Derek Reason. As you just stated, I am a small business owner and entrepreneur that was raised here in the city of Newport News. I've been here pretty much all my life. Of course, a product of the Newport News public school system. And as he stated already, I'm running for Newport News treasurer. I'm really looking to shake some things up in the political arena here in the city of Newport News. So just a quick little synopsis.
That's amazing. Okay. Listen, I take my hat off to you. Anybody who takes that leap into community, just to do anything in leadership for the community. I mean, there's so much involved in it being a political candidate, or at least it looks like it. I don't have any experience, but it looks like it's a lot to it. Would you say so far has your opinion, like your viewpoint from the outside looking in, has it changed now that you're an actual candidate? Has your opinion or your viewpoint of being a political candidate changed now that you are one?
No, with my wife, working my wife's campaigns, I worked the city council run and her clerk of court run. So I think I've been close enough to where I don't think it has changed. It's
Okay.
pretty much the same. This is what I expected. To be under the microscope, and of course, you're never gonna win everyone over. So as
Mhm.
far as I'm concerned, when it comes to that, I'm built for it. I got thick skin.
Okay. So, what made you throw your hat in the ring for this particular position?
Let me see. Because change is good. Change is good. Always looking, of course, to push, to disrupt that status quo. Of course, one of my biggest agendas right now is to make sure that we're galvanizing our community and really getting people that normally sit these kind of races out involved in the local process. So that's kind of like been my driving force. Really just energizing the community and getting them excited about who's on the ballot. That's one of the things that I feel is the biggest issues when it comes to participation or voter participation is expecting people to get excited about individuals that they don't know. So we're gonna switch. That's pretty much what I plan on changing.
Um, to your point, I volunteered this year, this year, for the presidential, at my local voting booth for the presidential race, and
Okay.
I was shocked by how many people. I kind of did a personal poll.
Right.
I was asking people as they came out. It's like how many of the candidates did you actually know before you went in? Did you actually know who you were voting for?
Hmm.
And I would say a good 85 to 90% of the people had no idea who the candidates
Yeah.
were, what their positions were,
Right.
what they stood for,
Right.
anything. Um, and the ones that did know barely knew. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Hmm.
Maybe the person happened to go to their church or friend of a friend or something like that. Um, what has it been like for you? Like as far as name and face recognition, like has that been something that you have made a conscious effort to kind of go above and beyond just because of that fact?
Um, I wouldn't necessarily say for name and face recognition. I do agree with what you're saying. Though. I've run into that at the polls a lot. You know, where you're passing out lit. People, you'll be surprised how many people make their decision at the poll. They
Right,
haven't done anything as far as their due diligence is concerned.
right,
We're looking into who the incumbent is or who the individuals are on the ballot running against them.
right,
So,
right.
man, you'll be surprised how many individuals I've run into, both with the clerk's race and the treasurer's race. Of course, passing out literature where individuals really don't even know that this is an elected position.
Right.
Yeah, we're just trying to make sure that we're touching the community. For me, this is the win is just really is really just getting out and letting people know that we can do this. We can run for these positions. Of course, the next step is when we can win these positions, and then of course after that, we can actually perform well in these positions and take them to the next level. So.
Okay. Usually, when I interview people that are running for office or even starting businesses, even entrepreneurs, it kind of all falls in. Usually, when I ask them what their why is, usually they feel that there's something missing in whatever chosen vocation they choose to go in.
Mhm.
So, in this position, what do you feel like is missing that you feel like maybe you need to what is the void that maybe you feel like you need to fill?
Well, just a presence in the community. Um, that's big for me. So I've said
Mm-hmm,
this quite a bit throughout the course of this
mm-hmm,
campaign. Is for a person to be in office for 40 years and to walk into a room and no one knows who that individual is, that's a problem for me. That means you're not active in your community. There's
right.
no civic engagement. So although the positions are very different,
Mm-hmm,
you're going to be hard pressed for an individual like Bobby Scott to walk into a room. I don't care if it's if it's a high school. Those kids are going to know who he is.
right.
Because he makes it a point to make sure that he's educating his community about what the issues are. And again, those positions are different, but we can touch on other constitutional officers. We have very visible constitutional officers in the city of Newport News when it comes to the clerk of court, when it comes to the commissioner of revenue, which is a beautiful thing. So again, we're just trying to make sure that we do our part to educate the community and let them know that we're here and we're standing with them.
As you kind of alluded to earlier, your wife holds a political office.
Mm.
Um, what would you say are the advantages or disadvantages of having someone of her stature right there in the house with you as it pertains to running this campaign?
Um, I wouldn't necessarily say advantages. I tell you what the disadvantage is. The disadvantage is being married to someone that sets such a high bar when it comes to her position. So an individual that's
Mm-hmm.
very involved with the community. You're hard pressed. The community is hard pressed to get a no from her. So she really does make an attempt to be everywhere to make sure that she's in the schools. Wherever she's needed, she's there. So she really operates outside of that scope of just being a clerk and operating within the office from that. From the hours of 8 to 4. So I would say that would be the disadvantage, because of course, not that I don't plan on doing that, but there's no visibility. There's a good amount of visibility, and then there's a standard that she set, right now in our city, and I would say, throughout the 757, of just making sure that she is active in her community. It's not a bad thing, but that a disadvantage. That's how I look at it.
Okay. Okay. Absolutely. Absolutely.
I think we got a little, maybe a little signal issue. Can you hear me?
A little difficulty there.
Okay, you came back. I got you now.
Being a citizen. Okay. Being a citizen, like you grew up in the area, you know, you're familiar with pretty much everything, every nook and cranny
Hmm.
of the community. Um, you know, some of the issues and some of the things, and I'm quite sure that you have your own kind of viewpoint or personal opinion on certain issues within the community as it pertains to the position that you're running for. Um, is it a challenge for you to separate Derek Reason, the citizen, and Derek Reason, the treasurer?
Um, not,
Because
no,
at
not.
certain points, I don't know, maybe you have to bow. I don't want to use the word bow. You may have to be uh open to the wants and needs of the majority versus your personal feelings on a
Mm,
certain issue pertaining to
no.
the office that you're holding. Is it a challenge for you to separate the citizen, or should you even separate the two?
I think you have to have a balance. Um, again, I can't really speak as if I do receive you saying that I'm the treasurer already. I receive it, but I can't speak as if I'm in that position at the moment. But I think you'll just have to have a balance. I mean, I think I'm doing it. Being that I'm doing this for the community, I really take into consideration how the community feels. All the way up until just decided to run. I did my own poll just to kind of hear, what we wanted to see. So I don't ever think that would be a challenge. I mean, I'm always going to consider what the community needs and what's best for them in that position. That's pretty much what I'm doing this for. So my needs come. They're not even in consideration. It's community, and then of course, whatever has to happen to keep the office running to stay in the flow.
What role? So, back, kind of going back to your family. What role have they played in this whole process for you? What's it like? What has it been like for them? I mean, I'm quite sure they're kind of at this point they're kind of used to it, but at this point, where do you see them in the whole process? What's their role in the process at this
I
point?
tell you, running a campaign is extremely um, taxing on the family. So of course they are. I'm not going to say they're used to it, but because my son, he was so young when my wife ran for clerk of court. This will be his first time really kind of experiencing, the busyness of the campaign trail. But my kids are very supportive, very supportive. Very excited, about what's taking place. And I'm just excited for them to witness it and for them to be a part of it. Because I know what that leads to. Kind of laying that foundation. So to kind of hear the conversations that my kids are having with their peers in school. The fact that my daughter, this will be her first time being able to vote for her father. But at the same time for her peers, because she's a leader in her own right. To be
Right.
excited about an individual that they actually know. That to me that I mean, like I said, they're supportive. They are everything that a family should be during this process. Um, yeah.
Okay. You alluded to earlier about having thick skin. Now let me ask you this: did you go in with thick skin, or did you develop thick skin once you were in the whole political process? Because, like I said, I know that this is not the first position that you've held. So, did you have thick skin going in, or did you get it once you were in?
Um, no, I think I'm comfortable with my decision making and how people respond to it. Because I'm not
Mhm.
impulsive. So, I've thought out, for the most part, what I wanted to say, what I did, and I'm comfortable with individuals' reactions to it. Not everybody is like that. Some people want to appease everybody. And I understand that that's impossible. So I'm not looking to chase a satisfaction from every single person. Um, so I just think I've been that way my entire life. Not that I don't care what people think, because I definitely do. But at the same time, again, my intent and my heart is pure, so I can stand on my decision making and whatever it is that I state.
Okay. How has the community received you so far in this process? What have you
It's been,
found to
listen,
be, the reception?
community. This is my man. Listen, I love Newport News. There's a certain sense of
Yeah.
pride. When that this is somebody that personally on all
Right.
levels. This is so my community has been extremely supportive. This is friends, family. An extension of friends and family. So it's been a beautiful thing, man. I'm extremely humbled, by the amount of support that I've seen. I'm not surprised though, because I would do the same thing for an individual, that's homegrown. I'm gonna get behind them 100%, and make sure we do whatever it is that we need to do to get them across that finish line. So yeah, my support, my community is supportive. They're protective. Constantly checking in on me, making sure everything is good. And of course, offering their support in any way that they can. And it shows. It shows. The interaction on social media shows. The events. Like we just had a campaign kickoff. I mean, we packed that place out, which is a beautiful thing. The energy was wonderful. Everybody left there on a high, excited about what's about to take place. So yeah.
That's good. That's amazing. That's amazing. And even doper than that, people don't have to people don't have to support you. You know what I'm saying? They're
Right,
choosing
right,
to.
right.
You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And that's amazing. They can look at you and say, that's my
Yes.
guy right there. I'm
Yeah.
doing it. They don't have to do that. So clearly, you know, you have laid a foundation down so that even if you weren't running for this office,
Hmm.
you
Hmm.
still will be respected in the community, and that's absolutely dope. Um, what have you learned about you? If you could name one thing, what have you learned about yourself that you didn't necessarily um, know about yourself prior to?
Hmm. Hmm. You know, that I don't have to respond to everything. I've
Wow.
learned that about myself, that I can actually, just sit back and just say, okay, kind of take some things in, because I want to attack everything head on. Let's address this.
Right.
But
Right.
yeah, I don't have to respond to not to everything. I'm still going to respond to some things, but not to everything. So I got some good self control
Pick your
when it
battles.
comes to,
Right.
yeah, absolutely. I get to pick my battles. I learned that I can actually do that, because this is it's a tough arena to be in. Everybody has an opinion.
Right.
Everyone
Absolutely.
has an opinion, and of course, like I said, you're not going to win everyone over. So you might get 20 people that support you, but you're always going to have those three that linger, and really don't feel the same way, and that's okay. Uh,
That's amazing. That's amazing. So, you're an entrepreneur, business owner in the community. Um, do you feel like that has given you kind of a cheat code slash advantage being a candidate for this particular position?
I wouldn't say I wouldn't say a cheat code, but it definitely gives me a different understanding. And there's a certain sense of respect that the business owners have, small business owners have, with one another. They understand, the challenges that each other have to face. So I wouldn't necessarily say it's a cheat code, but definitely some a lot of transferable skills, for a
Hmm.
position like this. Being a business owner, depending on what type of business you're in. Mine was transportation, to be specific. But I definitely have to have good communication skills. Broker carrier contract negotiations, of course, the ability to sell your services, so on and so forth. So again, not an advantage, but interfacing, with different state and federal departments, in a heavily regulated industry. So I wouldn't necessarily call it an advantage, but definitely some transferable skills, for a position like this. Absolutely.
Okay. Um, how, and this is going to sound like a strange question, how aware are you, if at all, that you are a man of color running for a political office? Are you, and what I mean by that is, does it does it play any does that ever play into your thought process,
You said
being
how
a
how
man
how
of
aware?
color, especially being a man of color? Like, does that ever play in your mind? Like, does that ever do you embrace the fact, like, it's almost like I'm asking you, are
But I
you
know. Listen, I
are
know
you
exactly. I know exactly what you're saying. Listen, you ain't got to look. You ain't got to explain no more. Listen, I know exactly what we're doing. Listen, I knew what we were doing when my wife ran for office. My
yeah.
wife, you know what I mean, was the first African American clerk of court in the city of Newport News. I ran into some elected, excuse me, let me roll that back. I ran into some individuals, that I shared that with, and they were like, man, I don't care about that. I said, man, that's everything to me. Representation,
Mm,
representation.
mm,
So I need our children to see what we're accomplishing right now, for them to
right,
understand that this is something that can be done. So I've been going around and kind of removing the elephant out of the room, and I did this at a Newport News City Committee meeting. I told these individuals that were asking me why with a certain undertone to it. And I've been telling people, like, yeah, it's a certain why. They're not inquiring about me as an individual or about my platform. It's a why, as if like I'm doing something wrong. Like, like, why are you doing this? And my response to them was very simple. I said, listen, first
mhm,
and foremost, I'm running because I can. And I knew that would strike a chord, because to me, like I said, that small statement right there, it kind of highlights the beauty of a democracy. Anybody that feels as though they have something to bring to the table can throw their hat in the ring. And I closed it with, you don't have to stand on the sideline and wait for change to happen. You can actually get in the game and be the change that you would like to see. So I stand on that. I know that, God willing, I will be the first African American treasurer, to serve in the city of Newport News. So again, I'm very aware of what's going on, and anybody that's offended by a statement like that or feeling like it's arrogant in any way, shape, or form, especially individuals that look, like, you and me, they have to, maybe they forgot that once upon a time, not only could we not be on the ballot, but we couldn't even vote. So that's important. That's important. I'm very aware.
that's a fact.
Hmm.
That's a fact. That's a fact. Um, do you feel like, and I'm kind of jumping around, but do you feel like, kind of going back to what we were talking about earlier about how aware are the voters of the candidates that they're actually attempting to support? Do you feel like that's symptomatic of voter apathy, more voter apathy, or do you think that there's just not enough information available for voters, or maybe said candidates may not do a good enough job of,
All right. It,
I guess, promoting themselves or making themselves recognizable?
no, I wouldn't say that. Let's take this position, into consideration, right?
Okay.
Let's look at the treasurer's office, the treasurer seat, city of Newport News, unopposed, for 6 terms, 6 terms,
Mm,
unopposed. So
mm,
you think about, the citizens of Newport News, not seeing any really any political strategy in place, probably not a lot of signs, an individual just kind of, not really having to run at all. It's just kind of like, listen, this is my seat. I'm here, and nobody's going to challenge me. I'm going to leave when I decide to leave. So I think part of that has to do with, and again, the lack of a civic engagement. Where you're not really engaged. You don't feel the need to be engaged with the citizens because of who's challenging you, who's putting your feet to the fire. And you kind of run into situations like that. So specifically with this seat, I just think, again, a lack of civic engagement, not a lot of individuals challenging this position, most likely probably led to voter apathy when it comes to the treasurer's position. Now, in general, I think it has to do with, I think a lot of it has to do with, again, candidates really not being connected with the people that are on the ballot. You don't know them. They're not somebody that you want to get off the couch for. And I'm not saying that's an excuse not to vote, but I do think a lot of it has to do with that.
Okay, let me ask you this. Okay, so what do you think is more important? Or not necessarily more important, but what would you say is higher, maybe higher on your agenda? Being in the office, making change, or making the present system work better. And that may sound kind of like the same thing, but then again, maybe
it does kind of sound the same. But of course, making change. We want to make an impact. So we don't want to just be an individual holding this position. We want to make sure that whatever we're doing, that it's a benefit to the city, but also we're not forgetting the constituents in that process. So there's a lot that could be done, especially when it comes to just being an advocate for your community. So I tell people like these seats are platforms, and they may not want to look at it as that. They may want to look at it as a position that's appointed, but it's not. You have a political duty and responsibility to your community. These are platforms. We can reach across city lines. We can team up with other treasurers. We can get with our local delegates. We can really push for some issues, to be corrected, to have a direct impact on our community immediately. So definitely want to make sure we're bringing about some positive change with this position. That's on the top of the list to answer your question.
Okay. I mean, I guess without getting, too involved, how do you plan to collaborate with the community when it comes to, said change, said proposed changes and things to improve the system? How do you propose to keep the people abreast of what's actually going to take place?
In a number of different ways. I mean, they like my wife does a conversations with the clerk. Of course, bringing information to the community. So there's always ways to attack that problem on social media, but of course, round tables. Of course, and just making sure that you have a presence in the community, making people feel welcome to actually even come to those events that you're throwing for the purpose of sharing ideas and collaborating. So absolutely, just being accessible, making sure that that we're letting the community know that we want their feedback. And actually, when we get their feedback, we need to see some things actually happen, some changes take place from that feedback. So they know they're not being ignored and that this is actually something that is for their benefit.
Okay. Going forward, this is it's an involved process. It's a lot going on. And this is more on the personal side. It's a lot going on, and just in the political process, trying to, convince the voters that you are the person, for the position, and all these things are swirling around you, wearing a lot of hats, and you making a lot of decisions, and you're overall, you are kind of in a permanent leadership mindset. not just as a candidate, but as a businessman, as a husband in your home,
Right.
and father in your home. Is it tough to turn that off when it's just time to be Derek? Have you mastered the art of the regular, of being
The art of
regular?
the regular. And I'm regular. I'm regular. You know, there's no doubt about it. Listen, I am what they say. What they say. You wanna be a politician that somebody that your voters want to feel like you're a politician that they can come and have a beer with. They sit down and have a drink with. I'm that type. I'm
Yeah.
regular. I'm so down to earth. And I think that's where a lot of the excitement is coming from because my community knows that. So I don't feel like I need to turn it off and on. That's just me. Always regular. I tell people, I say, listen,
Okay.
I'll let them fluff. I'm not gonna say fluff. Let me take that back because I don't want to insult anyone. I'll let other individuals, and other individuals, right? Give you a rundown of their resume, to kind of make you feel like, I'm better than you, and that's why I need to be leading you. Not me. I want you to understand that I'm running because I'm just like you. I am you, in a sense. You know what I mean? And that's why I'm doing this. I want you to feel like you see a reflection of yourself in these leadership roles. So I'm regular.
That's amazing. That is amazing. That is amazing. What would you say? What would you say? You found to be the most common misconception that people have about you?
Mm. You know what? I hate to even say this, but people that don't know me tend to think that I'm standoffish. You know, I am a little introverted at times. You know what I mean? I don't. I'm not a bubbly. Walk into the room and I'm trying to bring attention to myself. I'm just very low key. But I'm willing to spark conversation with somebody. You know what I mean? Of course, willing to engage in conversation. But I would say that would be the biggest misconception. I'm a very fun individual. I like to laugh and joke. But I guess sometimes maybe I don't know my face expression may come across as very. I don't know if I want to approach this guy like that. But I know I'm very easygoing.
Okay. Now you alluded to the fact that you're a homer. You are of the community. You're from the community. You went to school in the community. You've done everything in the community, and people gravitate to you and they know you. Now, while that is um, a good thing and an advantage, it also carries certain challenges as far as how just in regular life, you go. Let's say you go to the sneaker store and somebody your boy from high school is there, and because you know him, he gonna take about 10-15% off them sneakers. Is that something that uh you encounter being in office? People, and what I mean is people know you too well, and then they know you, and then they expect a certain level of favor
No, well, no,
in certain respects.
see, I can't speak to that because I'm not. I receive it though, but I'm not in office. I'm not in office yet. We're running to get in office. So I don't have any. And again, everything that we do is gonna be on the upright. Everything that we do, we just want to make sure, of
Right.
course, that you know, during those times when we're able to have a heart, utilize our discretion, and show a level of empathy. We want to make sure that we're definitely
Yeah.
doing that because they do have some discretion. Um, and how they use it now, I can't really speak for. I've had my own personal experiences, but you know, I've
I
I've
guess
been pretty.
I wasn't okay. I wasn't trying. I apologize if that came off kind of like an ethical question. What I mean, like, just simply, is it hard for you to say? Is it hard for you to say no? Have you mastered the art of saying no to people that that you know? You know, because like
I
you
think
know, it's
I've
a
been a
lot of things
master
that
of.
you can.
Yeah, if you ask my kids, I've been a master of no my entire life. I that might have been my first words. It might have been no, you know. No, but
Yeah,
I think yeah, I think I'll be fine when it comes to that. I don't have a problem standing
yeah,
firm, or you know what I mean. I don't think I'll walk around and have an issue with putting my foot down when need be, or whatever the case may be. So again, I definitely want to make sure
right,
that
right,
you know, and I feel like the community needs to make sure that you know you're putting a person in position that does you know have a heart for the community, and like I said, is able to show that a certain level of empathy. You know, because listen, I've been through, I'm sure some similar things that our community has had to face when it comes to challenges. You know, growing up as you know as a young parent as well. You know, raising my kids. So at the end of the day, we live in
mhm,
a tough economy right now. You know, a lot of people need help. Um, you know,
right,
it's just hard out there. Like I said,
right.
double inflation when you're talking about inflation on the personal side, on the business side. So just want to make sure that we have individuals that are operating, of course, under the code, you know, and of course pushing for codes that need to be changed, but at the same time, utilizing a certain level of empathy when applying that.
Okay, that's what's up. Um, I asked you earlier about, you know, what's something that you learned about yourself, um, that you may not have been aware of prior to, and just kind of to further talk about that, like to further expound on that. You seem to be a very assured person already, like not in a not in an arrogant way, but you know what you're doing, like you know what you're doing. Um, excuse me. Going forward, um, I was that, and it's funny because when I was interviewing your wife, I was saying how it's funny people fall into when you get it seems like when you're in a candidate or if you're in office, people fall into two categories. They they either underestimate your reach in a
Hmm.
said position,
Hmm.
or they assume that you can do things that
Hmm.
you're not that may not even be in your in your purview. So I say all that to say, do you do you make it a purpose to kind of not only run as a candidate but to make people aware of what the treasurer actually does or should either does or should be doing, um you know, as a whole?
Yeah, I mean, of course, you know, we're not going into too much detail in terms of you know, as far as the campaign trail is concerned. You know, the treasurer's
Mm-hmm.
main duty, of course, is to collect. You know, they have the ability to invest our taxpaying dollars if they choose to do so. And of course, like I said, I'm just one more time, because the question it took a couple turns. So one more
Okay.
time for the question.
What when you're as a part of your campaign process, because a lot of people, they know you, they know you're running for treasurer,
Right.
but people may or may not be aware of what the treasurer actually does,
Hmm.
how far your reach actually extends. What are you able to do? What are you
Hmm.
not
Hmm.
able to do?
Hmm.
What are some of the things that you're able to, implement and not implement, so on and so forth? It as part of your campaign process, is that a part of your campaign process to educate people on what it is that the treasurer actually does, or are you really just more concerned on the just being the candidates for that position? Do you
I
think?
mean,
Do you feel like it's a responsibility
I
to
think I
to
think
educate people
I think
on
the
that?
main concern is to be the candidate. That's just my personal opinion.
Okay.
Because as we've already stated, it's an overwhelming amount of individuals that don't know that this is a seat that you can actually run for.
Hmm.
So of course, just kind of starting with baby steps and spoon feeding,
Hmm.
to where you get to a point where you can actually, you have that trust of the community where you can start giving them more in terms of like that. That's where that civic engagement comes in at, educating the community. That's where those round tables, of course, utilizing social media to make sure that we're spreading information. And of course, just being somebody that they're looking for. We have a heavy presence on social media right now. So we definitely, I mean, with a victory, can expect for that to grow. So to utilize that to our advantage, make sure that we're getting information out to the community. I think that comes next. But the general basis of what the treasurer does, of course, collecting, your personal property taxes, and of course, the
Hmm.
ability to invest our taxpaying dollars if they choose to do so. It's kind of like the general basis of what they're doing. But you do have individuals that think, okay, well, because I ask people all the time, well, what do you feel like an individual need? What type of experience you feel like an individual needs to have? Oh, I guess like a CPA. Like, no, you're not filing taxes. That's not what you're doing.
Right.
But it's okay.
Right.
So again, we're learning. So that's our
Hmm.
job to make sure that we get that information and that we bring it back to the community.
That's a fact. That's a fact. Um, this is a question that I ask, all my guests. It's actually my last official question. Um, I just want you to think about it and give me the most honest and transparent answer that you can give me. Um, and the question is this: what would have to happen in your life, if it hasn't happened already, for you to consider your life a success? What does success
Mm.
look like for you?
Um, whatever makes you feel fulfilled.
Mm.
A simple answer. To me, that's success. So it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks about it. It doesn't matter how impressive anybody else feels that it is. Whatever it is that you're doing on a daily basis that makes you feel fulfilled, to me, is the ultimate success. Yeah.
You know what? Come to think of it, I lied to you. I got one more question. I got one more question for
Come
you.
on, yeah,
At,
I got you.
at this point in your career and in your life, and this is a question that I kind of ask myself all the time too. Um, do you, when you look in the mirror and you see all that you've been able to accomplish and the point that you're at right now, are you the person that you set out to be?
Mm, not yet.
No.
Not
Okay.
yet. Not yet. I mean, to be honest with you, man, I've had so many people that I respect speak over me, speak over my life, and of course in a positive way, speak into my life. Not yet. Not yet.
Okay.
So, still got some areas that we need to tap into, and that's pretty much what kind of pushed me in this direction. To be honest with you, I'll share a story with you. I actually, the day after my wife won, just kind of, I don't even know why I'm sharing this. I feel like we need to share it, but the day after my wife won, I knew that we needed some change in that office, and I'm not speaking about her seat. I'm talking about the treasurer's position. So I went and
Hmm.
actually I sought an individual out that I thought would be wonderful for that position, and took some twisting of the arm. She finally decided that okay, I'll do it. I'll do it. And of course I said, okay, well look, I'll contact you. Um, I'll contact you when it gets closer to that time. so we can go ahead and start laying the foundation for
Hmm.
for this race. And I did my part. I called her, and she said, listen, I've been praying. I talked to my bishop, and God said that wasn't for me, and I couldn't do nothing but respect it.
Okay.
So at the
Right.
end of the day, I'm like, wow, that's a void. There's a void that needs to be filled, and here it is. I'm searching high and low, trying to find somebody to do it. And the whole time, I felt like God just
Mhm.
was like, you know what? Why are you looking for somebody to do something that I've already equipped you to do? So,
Wow.
I'm
Wow.
not. Yeah, I haven't reached that point yet. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Who would you say is your at this point? Who is your greatest influence? Who
Mm,
pours into you?
Man, that's a good question. That's a good question. I might have to get back to you on that one.
Okay.
Yeah, I might have to get back to you on that one. I got to do better. I got to do better. Um, I got
Listen,
to get back to you
listen.
on
You're a
that one.
man. I'm a
Right.
man too, and
Uh,
I feel you. I feel you on that. So I
right.
definitely get
Right.
it. I respect that. I definitely respect that. So, Mr. Reason, man, I appreciate you coming onto the platform. I know we just kind of like scratched the surface, but I want to extend to you an open invitation to come back whenever. If there's some stuff you want to, expound on, we could do a part two. I'm definitely down and open to do
Absolutely.
that.
Absolutely.
Um, and again, I take my hat off to you because I respect anybody that has the courage to endure all the things that come with running for public office. I know that you have to be super transparent and super out there, and it may go
Hmm.
and it may even go against your personality. You know what I
Right.
mean? Things
Right.
that you
Oh man, you
like
don't
you
listen.
said, like public
You
speaking and
don't even know.
engaging people in the way.
Yeah, yeah, you don't even know. That's the biggest thing. Listen, public speaking. That's how I know this is like. Wait a second, I'm
Yeah,
putting myself outside of my comfort zone. Because that's not something that I like to do. I'm sorry for cutting you off.
yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely. Again, I take my hat off to you. I respect that wholeheartedly, and I wish you the best in this upcoming race. I live in Hampton, so
Uh,
I mean, I wish I wish I lived in the area, but I wish you much success in that. If
Appreciate it.
somebody No, absolutely. If somebody wanted to get in touch with you, if somebody wanted you to expound on something maybe that you expressed on here
Mhm.
or whatever, maybe they want to get you on their platform to discuss your candidacy some further, how could they get in touch with you?
Of course, you can. The website is www.alltherightreasons2025.com. Again, that's www.alltherightreasons2025.com. And of course, you can reach out to me on social media on Facebook, Derek C Reason, Instagram, Derek C Reason, same handle name. Yeah, that's pretty much it. You definitely get in contact. I answer all my DMs. Just reach out to me, and we'll make something happen.
Absolutely. Is there anything that or anybody that you want to shout out before we sign off?
Yeah, of course. I got to shout out my team, Team Reason. Listen, the best team in all the land, Team Reason. It's something serious. Of course, I'm my campaign manager, Tanisha Hines. Got to shout her out. Of course, I got to shout out my lovely wife, Angela Reason, Madam Angela Reason. So yeah, absolutely. Shout my kids out. My kids out. The reasons, just the reasons. Yeah.
Okay. Well, again, I appreciate you coming on and taking the time out to sit with us. Again, I offer you, an open invitation to come back whenever you feel is necessary. We also do like panels. We talk about a diverse number of different things:
Okay.
politics,
Okay.
beauty, dating, sports, you name
Oh
it, we
man,
talk about it. So
yeah, I can't do the dating one.
absolutely.
I'm 18
I
years. I
get you.
can't,
I
I can't,
feel
I ain't
you.
got no insight on that
I
one.
feel you.
Yeah,
I feel you. I'm just saying. We just talk
no, I
about a whole
got you.
bunch
I'm
of.
messing. I'm messing. I got you.
Yeah, that's no point. Shout out to Miss Angela Reason. She would thanks. I thank her again for coming on the platform as well.
Okay.
Again, I appreciate you, man, and,
All
and
right.
much respect to you. I wish you much blessings on everything that you have going on,
Thank
even
you.
the things that hasn't even happened yet. I wish you
Come
much
on.
blessings on that as well.
Speak it.
All right.
I appreciate you, brother. Take it
Absolutely.
easy.
You have a good night.
You too. All right, Mike.
All right. All right, you guys. That was Mr. Derek Reason. Shout out to him. I wish him the best in the upcoming election. If you're in the Newport News area, please check out his platform. Get educated on him. And I'm not going to tell you who to vote for, but I just say get educated on him and make the best and most educated and sober-minded decision that you can as far as the candidate. Again, I respect wholeheartedly, the courage it takes to be a candidate of political office. That has to be, that's a lot. It's absolutely a lot. So shout out to him. Shout out to everybody who took the time out to check out this interview. And as always, man, I want to encourage you all. If there's something that God has given you, a vision, a strategy, a plan, a dream to do a certain thing, do it. Do it. Now is the best time as any, because there's a remnant of folks that are waiting for you to make certain decisions and make certain moves so that they can reach their ultimate destiny. So when you think about it in that way, it becomes much bigger than just a dream or just a vision. It becomes a responsibility. It becomes, you are a link in a chain, so to speak. So I encourage you, if it's a degree, if it's, you want to be being an architect or a lawyer or a doctor or a business owner or a banker or a stockbroker, whatever it is, write the script, write the song, whatever it is, write the play, whatever it is, step out on faith. For where God gives vision, he provides provision. So with that being said, you guys, I'm going to sign off. But again, I thank you guys for checking us out on a Wednesday. I appreciate that. We appreciate that. Take care. And let's take a walk.